Hello, and welcome to the very first issue of the Hoofington Post podcast. I'm Donut Steele.
I'm Top Story.
And I'm Victor Felton. And today, since this is the first episode, it'll just be a basic introduction of your three hosts. And then we'll talk about, who our favorite ponies are, and the latest episode, Putting Your Hoof Down, and, well, at least upon time of recording. Upon actual production, there'll probably be whatever the Twilight one is. I don't remember the exact title. Do either of you do?
I don't know. It just has time travel.
Some pun involving time. I can't remember. It's
Yeah,
about
right.
time, I think. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's
yeah.
about time.
And then we'll talk about the Anime Salt Lake Brony panel, which two of us actually organized and one of us attended.
Well, all three of us attended, but yeah.
Oh, okay, technically all three of us were there, but one of us attended as guest.
Yep. All right. Top Story, why don't you start by introducing yourself and telling us how you got into the fandom and who your favorite ponies are, main six and background.
All right, so once again, I'm Top Story, and I got into the fandom about 7 or 8 months ago. I had heard about it on the internet quite a bit, just on B. I was, unsure about what it was. And one of my very good friends was a brony, and, he did what bronies did and forcibly made me watch an episode, which was actually Sonic Rainboom at the time. And what can I say? I just basically had a moment of, oh crap, now I'm a brony. And I've just been involved in the fandom since then, doing various things and whatnot. And my favorite ponies would be Derpy Hooves. That's my number one favorite. But then if we're going into more background ponies, I am very partial to both Vinyl Scratch and Octavia. And then for main six, it's got to be Fluttershy, followed very, very closely by Pinkie Pie.
So predictable.
Oh, hush.
You're just jealous.
No one's jealous of you, Victor.
Hey, Rarity is like a really close third / also second / I can't decide.
Plus, you're bad at this. So, I'm Victor Felton again, and I got into the fandom probably about 9 or so months ago, I want to say. It was during, pretty sure, June. Yeah. I was just more derping around on Meme Base, and I kept seeing these image macros of My Little Pony stuff, and I found the first one that I saw pretty interesting, and then I found more, and I found more, and I kept looking at them and absorbing all of this pony, and I ended up going to the TV Tropes page and reading all of it. Every single one, including the episode synopses, which are quite reads on their own. And so I ended up basically just telling myself, okay, I'm definitely a brony. I should probably watch the show. And then for favorite ponies, I'd have to go with main six. It's constant flip-flop back and forth between Rarity and Applejack. I mean, Rarity's just so cool and stuff, but Applejack, she's the one I empathize with the most, and just hopes that my very first girlfriend was basically Applejack in humanized form. And, background, however, I would actually have to go with Berry Punch, his best pony.
Berry Punch is best overprotective pony.
Berry Punch is best drunkard.
Berry pony. And if you would know that, you might have won the trivia contest.
I know. And I couldn't even find out who a silly pony was. I'm so embarrassed.
I was surprised that I actually knew the answer to that question. I'm pretty sure I was just browsing, the G4 wiki when I came across Berry Punch's nickname as Overprotective Parent Pony.
That was such a hard question. But anyway, Donut Steel, you want to talk about yourself?
So yeah, I'm Donut Steel, and I got into the fandom March of 2011, around the time when I believe it was season 1, episode 18 aired, where the Cutie Mark Crusaders enter the talent show. And I had basically Seen Pony around the internet a few times before that. I used to go to the Escapist a bunch, and that's where I first saw it. And it was after I saw the mashup of My Little Pony and the Skyrim trailer that I decided, okay, this show actually looks pretty decent. Maybe I should give it a try. So one day at a particularly boring tech rehearsal while backstage, I pulled up the first 4 episodes of season 1 and started watching them. And I was a little bit skeptical at first, but basically by the end of the pilot episode, I was convinced that this was an amazing show. So I've sort of stuck with it ever since. Um, Favorite ponies. My favorite main member of the main 6 has to be Twilight Sparkle. It sort of always has been because I'm a sucker for the wonderful, brainy, adorable type characters. And as far as background ponies go, Octavia, just because I like classical music and because I really like her mane. I really do. Her mane is awesome. All right. So moving on to the next topic. On March 3rd, so as of time of this recording, last Saturday, there was the very first Anime Salt Lake convention down at the Salt Lake Community College. Victor Felton and I helped to run the Utah Brony panel there, and we essentially gave a brief rundown of the fandom of what it was. We had an interview with the musician McCon, and we had a trivia game and a raffle. So it was pretty amazing. We had a great turnout. Um, but I wanted to ask you guys what your overall impressions of how the panel went. Top story, Victor Felton, opinions. Feel free to list things that we could have changed or done differently, because I feel that while we did a good job, we could have changed a few things too.
Yeah, I would just like to say that we also watched Putting Your Hoof Down there live with all the people.
Yeah. Victor, you want to take this first, or should I?
I guess since I was the main organizer of the panel, I'll start out. Really, what we could have done better would. Well, I mean, first of all, we had to cut the final sing along for time. Like, 2:50, and that's when the raffle finally ended. I think that was the main thing. So we didn't get to do the sing along, but I felt that that was sort of okay because everyone ended up breaking into song twice, and I actually let them sing through it twice. I mean, they tried to sing Smile, Smile, Smile about 50 dozen million times, but I put a stop to that because otherwise it's like a 2.5 minute song, and we were, of course, very strapped for time.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea, like we did, to have more content than we have time for instead of less, and then just end up stalling for time, like the steampunk panel ended up doing. Because yeah, they finished like 20 minutes into their panel, and we're kind of just blowing hot air for the rest of it. So I think we had
Yeah.
a good selection of content for ours.
I did appreciate that the wide amount of content you had, and it wasn't like you were ever just like, oh, let's think of something to do. Oh crap! It was a very full panel, and you used your 2 hours well, and all the things you did were rather interesting and good. So that was good. Um, for things to work on, I don't know. It would just I don't know. Actually, it was just a pretty enjoyable panel. I don't, I'm not one to critique it very much, so.
I don't know. I know for myself, I think I just need to script my presentation
Oh,
a
that
little
is
more
true. You're,
because I was kind
yeah.
of fumbling for a bit, but
You know
The
what's
whole
really
the
funny?
histories of the Baroni section was a little bit. What?
Now, right at the very beginning, when I realized that I had put my script in my briefcase, I closed the briefcase because otherwise it would have gotten in my way and sort of obscured the view. And the problem is, then about 3 seconds in, I realized that I had just locked my script in my briefcase just when I started.
ooh,
So that was fun.
yeah. I mean, I didn't really. I I did a basic script of my presentation. Like I had a few presenter notes and that sort of thing, and I knew what I would talk about on each slide, but I didn't really take the chance to script it and practice it fully, except for that one time before the panel. So I think just a little more preparedness on my part could have made it better.
Oh, and also, you guys probably should have considered initially miking McCon, because a lot of the about half of the interview, probably most of the people in the panel couldn't actually hear. So
Yeah, and I noticed that
was a
on
little
the video too. It's really hard to hear him at first until he gets on the mic.
Oh yeah, the music's definitely too loud.
Oh yeah, music needed to. I mean, it was nice that it was there for a lot of the time, but it needed to be a little bit lower at certain points, especially during the interview.
So if anyone's wondering what we're actually talking about, I'm sure that someone who is making the show will be able to put a link to the entire panel playlist in the show notes.
Top story.
We'll get that.
Okay, good. Just so people aren't going into this like, what is happening here? I am confused. But one thing that I actually really like about how we decided to do the panel was we weren't a bunch of people sitting behind a table and talking into mics.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That is true. Yeah.
Those are the worst sorts of panels I've attended, is when it's just a person who knows what they're talking about but can't for the life of them make it seem exciting. Just talking into a microphone for an hour.
And hey, I mean, one of the most notable parts of about that whole panel was the fact that we did get to watch Putting Your Hoof Down, which is an amazing episode, I do have to say myself. When I was watching it, I just kind of thought that, man, does Fluttershy have some emotional problems? Like, when she gets influenced in any kind of way by some kind of figure of power, she just has this personality shift, and it makes me think that she was either abused as a filly or just like bullied into oblivion, because also she could dish out insults like ridiculously well.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts about that, or just like?
I mean, she seems to take like any sort of advice to the extreme, as definitely evidenced in the new episode. I really liked Putting Your Hoof Down. I feel it's definitely one of the stronger episodes of season 2.
CDW is just raising the bar with basically every episode they make, and this was clearly just another step up for them, really.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And hey, Lyra and Bon Bon are canon now, so that's fun.
Yep. They've been appearing together for a few episodes, but it's getting more and more prevalent, I'd say.
Also, Pip.
Oh,
yes,
Pip was
yes.
in that episode.
There was that
awesome.
like one frame of Pip.
Yeah, and I did enjoy the continuity and the fact that Fluttershy did use the stair again.
Yep.
Like, I'm glad that came back up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really love, just like as far as the technical aspect, the bit where Fluttershy's in her cottage and she's got all the windows boarded up, and we have that like slow pan with all the shadow. That was just amazing. Technically.
That made me kind of get the chills a little bit. I was like, I just thought, holy crap, not only is Studio B producing just an excellent show just based on the voice acting and the script and the characters, but now they're putting time and effort into like cinematography, which is kind of crazy for a children's show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they care.
What about your thoughts, Victor? What did you think about the episode?
I liked the episode, pretty much all of it, except for Iron Will is a minotaur, not a monster. I feel like this needs to be reiterated. Yes, he was the antagonist of the episode, sort of, but really it was more Fluttershy's fault entirely. I mean, I feel like Iron Will was a bit victimized, and I'm not just saying that because I'm another minotaur. It's not being facetious.
You do have a point with that.
Yeah.
It does kind of tie back into, what is wrong with Fluttershy. Like, any other pony could have taken Iron Will's advice and just gone, okay, I'll just be a little bit more assertive in my life and it'll help help make things better for me. But she took it to a point that was, I think, way beyond what even Iron Will intended.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, like, how everyone keeps calling Iron Will a monster, and yet that whole distinction isn't really made with a lot of the other sort of mythological creatures we've seen in the show, like the, well, for one thing, dragons,
Manticore.
Manticore, Hydra.
Cockatrice.
Yep,
Yeah.
they're all referred to by name, and not just by the, descriptor of monster. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an interesting thing to notice.
I'm just saying it's also interesting all the work in the most recent episodes that Studio B has been doing to like create more depth in the world of Equestria. Like now we have, cows having a more cemented place, and donkeys, and now we have goats and minotaurs and their place in society, and it's very interesting to look at. So it's no longer just those three types of ponies, and then where are all the other animals and other anthropomorphic creatures?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it kind of terrifies me, the fact that all of those other animals are totally just second-class citizens in Equestria. It's a little bit freaky, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Ponies have all the power, and they're totally using it.
Yeah, and what are the only two species we've had, or we've seen with cutie marks are zebras and ponies. We've got a bunch of other hooved quadrupeds that are sentient, but they're not exactly afforded the same class, I suppose, as ponies.
There's something in that world. There are something below, which is kind of odd.
Yep. Cows and sheep, especially.
Oh, sheep are just prisoners.
They like it that way.
Apparently. I suppose life wouldn't be too hard over at Sweet Apple Acres, but
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe they use the sheep to make the winter wrap-up vests every year. That's their sole purpose for existing.
Oh no, that'd be awful.
Hey, and actually, we don't know. Maybe the sheep do have cutie marks. They're just hidden underneath all that wool.
That is true. They could have cutie marks.
And it's all the same
We just
mark.
don't know.
Each and every single one is the sweater.
All of their cutie marks are just, you make wool.
Yep.
Oh.
That's what you're good at.
That's so sad.
Speaking of cutie marks, that always makes me wonder, like, because there's cutie marks for all the different things, is there a cutie mark for, like, the saddest pony in Equestria?
I want to see that cutie mark. Just the cutie mark of like their special talent is being super depressing and making other people depressed. Like it's just a really, really sad, like frowny face and like grayscale or something with like rain behind it.
No, it's probably just like an eye with heavy mascara and a single tear.
Oh, or something like the crying blood.
Yep. One tear of blood.
Yeah,
So we've got an eye with heavy mascara and a single blood tear. That is the pony, or that is the cutie mark of the most depressed pony in Equestria.
Yes.
I need to draw this.
Their special talent is depression. I'm really good at this. I don't know why.
I'm just sad all the time.
Oh, it's your special lot in life. Someone has to do it.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you all for listening. We're still finalizing our release schedules, so for now, it's kind of when we finish them, we release them.
Yeah.
So, signing off, I am Donut Steel.
I am Top Story.
And I'm Victor Felton.
Thank you for listening to the Hoofington Post.
Subscribe.
And this has been the Hoofington Post.
Dun dun dun.